What if one of the most painful parts of your month wasn't something you simply had to endure? For millions of women, period cramps are treated as just another part of life. Plans get canceled, sleep becomes impossible, concentration disappears, a heating pad becomes a constant companion. Yet researchers have spent decades studying why menstrual cramps happen, and something fascinating has emerged. Not every strategy for easing discomfort comes from a medicine cabinet. Some of the most widely studied approaches begin with something much simpler: how the body responds to heat, movement, stress, blood flow, and even the way we breathe. But here's the surprising part. Many women know about one or two of these natural approaches. Very few understand why they work or which ones have the strongest scientific support. And once you understand the science, your entire perspective on period cramps may change.
Hi, I'm Kristen. For more than 12 years, I've been researching women's health, reviewing scientific literature, and translating complex medical research into clear, practical education that anyone can understand. I'm not here to diagnose conditions or replace advice from your healthcare professional. My goal is simply to help you better understand how your body works and what current research tells us, so you can make informed conversations about your health with greater confidence. Today, we're exploring 7 natural, evidence-based ways that may help support comfort during menstrual cramps at home. By the end of this video, you'll understand what's actually happening inside your body during menstrual cramps. We'll explore why heat can sometimes work so well, why gentle movement often helps, even when resting feels like the only option, how stress can quietly amplify pain, and several other research-backed lifestyle approaches that healthcare professionals commonly discuss as part of overall menstrual wellness. Along the way, we'll separate myths from evidence and explain the biology in plain English, because understanding your body is often the first step toward feeling more in control. Imagine this. It's early Monday morning. Sarah, a 42-year-old mother of 2, wakes before sunrise. She has an important presentation at work, lunch with a friend she's been trying to see for months, her daughter's school concert later that evening. Everything is planned. Then she rolls over in bed. A familiar tightening spreads across her lower abdomen. Within minutes, the dull ache becomes a deep, gripping pain. She closes her eyes. Not again. She wonders if today will become another day rearranged around discomfort. As she gets dressed, every movement reminds her that her body is asking for attention. She makes coffee. She forces a smile. No one around her can see what she's feeling. For many women, this scene isn't unusual. It isn't dramatic. It's simply real. According to organizations like the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, menstrual pain is one of the most common gynecologic concerns experienced by women of reproductive age. Yet despite how common it is, many women grow up believing they simply have to push through it. Here's what many people don't realize. Pain isn't just something happening to you. It's the result of countless biological signals traveling between your uterus, your nerves, your brain, and even your emotions. Once researchers began understanding those signals, they discovered something remarkable. Certain everyday habits may influence some of those pathways in ways that support greater comfort for many women. That doesn't mean every approach works for every person. And it certainly doesn't mean severe or persistent pain should be ignored. But it does mean your body may be more responsive than you realize. To understand why, we first need to meet the tiny chemical messengers responsible for much of the discomfort. Imagine your uterus as one of the strongest muscles in your body. Every month, it prepares for the possibility of pregnancy. When pregnancy doesn't occur, the lining that built up inside the uterus begins to shed. To help remove that lining, the uterus contracts. Those contractions are normal. The challenge comes from the chemical messengers directing them. They're called prostaglandins. Think of prostaglandins as text messages sent throughout the uterus saying, "It's time to squeeze." When prostaglandin levels are higher, contractions can become stronger. Those stronger contractions may temporarily reduce blood flow to the uterine muscle. Just like any muscle that isn't getting enough oxygen for a short period of time, discomfort can increase. That's one reason cramps often feel like intense muscle spasms. But here's where the story becomes even more interesting. Pain isn't determined only by what's happening in the uterus. Your nervous system also plays a major role. Stress levels, sleep quality, muscle tension, blood circulation, inflammation, even how your brain processes pain signals. All of these factors may influence how intensely menstrual cramps are experienced. That's why researchers increasingly view menstrual discomfort as something involving multiple systems throughout the body, not just one organ. And understanding that bigger picture opens the door to several natural approaches that may help support comfort. Let's begin with perhaps the oldest remedy of all, one that modern science has continued to investigate: heat therapy. It sounds almost too simple. How could something as ordinary as warmth make a meaningful difference? For generations, women have reached for heating pads, warm compresses, or hot water bottles during their periods. For a long time, people assumed it simply felt comforting, but researchers wanted to know whether something deeper was happening. Picture another woman. Linda has always dreaded the first day of her menstrual cycle. One evening after work, instead of immediately lying down, she places a warm heating pad across her lower abdomen while relaxing on the couch. Within a while, she notices something. She hasn't forgotten the cramps are there, but they don't seem to demand all of her attention anymore. What's happening? Heat affects the body in several fascinating ways. When warmth is applied to muscles, blood vessels in the area tend to widen. Improved circulation may help deliver oxygen and nutrients to tissues while encouraging muscles to relax. Think about how your shoulders feel after a warm shower following a stressful day. The muscles often loosen naturally. Researchers believe a similar principle may contribute to why warmth feels soothing over the lower abdomen during menstruation. Heat may also influence how pain signals travel through the nervous system. One explanation comes from what's known as the gate control theory of pain. Imagine pain messages traveling along a highway toward your brain. Warmth creates additional sensory signals that may compete for space on that highway, making pain signals feel less overwhelming for some people. It's not that the cramps magically disappear. It's that your nervous system may process those sensations differently. Clinical research has found that continuous low-level heat applied to the lower abdomen can provide meaningful comfort for many women experiencing menstrual cramps. In fact, some studies have suggested that heat therapy may be comparable to other commonly used approaches for certain individuals, although results naturally vary from person to person. That's one reason healthcare professionals often mention heat as a simple, non-drug option that many women find helpful as part of their overall comfort strategy. Here's what many women don't realize, though. Heat isn't only about the uterus. It can also encourage surrounding muscles, including those in the lower back and pelvis, to relax. Because menstrual discomfort often spreads beyond the abdomen, relaxing nearby muscles may contribute to an overall sense of relief. But there's another piece of the puzzle. Have you ever noticed that when cramps strike, your instinct is often to curl up in bed and stay completely still? It feels like the obvious thing to do. Yet, researchers uncovered something surprisingly counterintuitive. Sometimes, gentle movement may actually help the body respond differently to menstrual discomfort.
Gentle movement. At first, it sounds almost unbelievable. When your lower abdomen feels tight and achy, why would anyone want to move? For many women, the instinct is understandable. Find the couch, curl into a blanket, and wait for the discomfort to pass. Sometimes rest is exactly what the body needs. But researchers began noticing an interesting pattern. Women who stayed gently active during their menstrual cycle often described a different experience than expected. Not because exercise fixed their cramps, but because movement appeared to influence several of the body's natural pain-regulating systems. Imagine Maria. She's 48 and works from home. On the first day of her period, she usually avoids exercise altogether. One month, instead of skipping all activity, she takes a slow 15-minute walk around her neighborhood. Nothing strenuous. No pressure to hit a fitness goal. just an easy pace. As she walks, something subtle begins to happen. Her breathing becomes steadier, her shoulders relax. The tension she hadn't even realized she was holding starts to ease. The cramps haven't vanished, but they no longer seem to dominate every thought. Researchers believe several biological changes may help explain why. Gentle physical activity increases circulation throughout the body, including the pelvic region. Movement also encourages the release of endorphins, sometimes called the body's natural pain modulators. Endorphins don't eliminate discomfort entirely, but they may influence how pain is perceived. Exercise may also reduce muscle stiffness, improve mood, and help regulate stress hormones that can amplify pain signals. Clinical studies have found that regular, moderate physical activity is associated with reduced menstrual pain for many women, although the ideal type and intensity can vary from person to person. Healthcare professionals often emphasize that movement doesn't need to be intense. In fact, during periods of discomfort, gentle activity is often more realistic and sustainable than vigorous exercise. Here's something many women overlook. The goal isn't burning calories. The goal is helping the body move in ways that encourage relaxation, circulation, and natural pain regulation. And that leads to another surprising discovery. Sometimes, the muscles creating the greatest tension aren't only in the uterus. They're connected to something we do nearly every minute of every day. Breathing. Relaxation and deep breathing. Think about what happens when you're startled. Your shoulders rise, your jaw tightens, your breathing becomes shallow. Your entire body prepares for danger. Now, imagine experiencing pain. The body often reacts in remarkably similar ways. Without realizing it, many women begin taking shorter, faster breaths during painful cramps. That response is completely natural, but researchers have found that this protective pattern may also increase muscle tension throughout the body. Consider Angela. She's sitting at her kitchen table during the first day of her cycle. She notices she's been holding her breath each time another wave of cramping arrives, almost like bracing herself. When she intentionally slows her breathing, something changes. The pain isn't instantly gone, but her body no longer feels like it's fighting itself. Science offers an explanation. Slow, controlled breathing helps activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the part often called the body's rest and restore system. As this system becomes more active, heart rate may slow, muscle tension may decrease, and the body's overall stress response may soften. Researchers studying mindfulness, breathing techniques, and relaxation practices have found encouraging evidence that these approaches may reduce how intensely some women experience menstrual discomfort. The effect isn't only psychological. The brain and body are constantly communicating. When stress levels rise, pain signals may become louder. When the nervous system becomes calmer, those same signals may be processed differently. This relationship between stress and pain has become one of the most fascinating areas of women's health research. But here's where the story takes another unexpected turn. Many women assume cramps are caused only by what's happening during their period. Researchers now know that what happens throughout the rest of the month may matter too, especially when it comes to one everyday habit that's often overlooked: sleep. But researchers discovered something surprising. A restless night before your period may influence much more than your energy level the next day. It may also affect how your brain processes pain. Prioritizing restful sleep. We've all experienced it. After a poor night's sleep, even small inconveniences seem harder to handle. A noisy room feels louder. A stressful conversation feels heavier. A minor headache feels more noticeable. Pain and sleep share a powerful relationship. Imagine Diane. She works long hours and often stays up late scrolling through her phone. During her menstrual cycle, she notices something interesting. The months when she's especially sleep-deprived, her cramps seem harder to cope with. Researchers have observed similar patterns. Sleep plays an important role in how the brain processes pain signals. During healthy sleep, the body performs countless repair and regulatory functions. Hormones are balanced, inflammatory processes are influenced, the nervous system recalibrates. When sleep is consistently disrupted, pain sensitivity may increase for some individuals. That doesn't mean one bad night automatically causes severe cramps. Human biology is far more complex than that. But growing evidence suggests that healthy sleep habits are an important part of overall menstrual wellness. Healthcare professionals often encourage looking at menstrual health through the lens of the entire body, not just 1 week each month. Daily routines, including sleep, stress management, and physical activity, may all contribute to how the body experiences menstrual discomfort. Here's another interesting connection. Many women notice they're craving certain foods around their period. It's easy to dismiss those cravings as simply lacking willpower, but biology tells a much more interesting story. Eating balanced, nourishing meals. Picture your body as an orchestra. Every nutrient plays a different instrument. When they're working together, the performance is smooth. When several sections fall out of rhythm, the music changes. Researchers continue studying how overall dietary patterns influence inflammation and menstrual health. While no single food has been proven to eliminate period cramps, dietary habits may play a supportive role in overall well-being. Imagine Karen preparing dinner. Instead of focusing on one so-called miracle food, she begins thinking about balance. Colorful vegetables, whole grains, fruit, beans, healthy sources of protein. Meals that leave her feeling energized rather than sluggish. Current research suggests that dietary patterns emphasizing a variety of minimally processed foods may support the body's normal inflammatory balance. Scientists are still learning exactly how these relationships work. Human nutrition is incredibly complex, but one message remains consistent across many health organizations. Overall eating patterns matter more than chasing individual superfoods. Here's what many women don't realize. Some viral social media claims promise that one drink, one spice, or one trendy ingredient can completely stop menstrual cramps. Current scientific evidence simply doesn't support those dramatic promises. Real health rarely comes from shortcuts. It usually comes from many small habits working together over time. And one of the simplest habits is also one of the easiest to forget. Water. It may seem ordinary, but the relationship between hydration, muscles, and the body is more important than many people realize. Staying well hydrated. Water rarely gets much attention in conversations about menstrual health. It isn't trendy, it doesn't come with dramatic headlines, and no one claims it's a miracle solution. Yet researchers continue to study how hydration supports many of the body's normal functions, including circulation, muscle function, and overall well-being. Imagine Jennifer. She's 51 and has always been so busy taking care of everyone else that she often forgets one simple thing: drinking enough water throughout the day. During her period, she notices she feels more sluggish, more bloated, and generally less comfortable. One month, she begins paying closer attention to staying hydrated, not as a cure for cramps, but as part of taking better care of herself. She still experiences menstrual discomfort, but she also notices she feels more energized and less weighed down overall. What's happening? Water helps every cell in the body function normally. Muscles, including the uterus, depend on a healthy internal environment to work efficiently. Hydration also supports circulation and helps the body regulate temperature. Researchers haven't found strong evidence that simply drinking more water directly eliminates menstrual cramps. However, maintaining good hydration supports overall health and may help some women feel more comfortable during their menstrual cycle, particularly if dehydration is contributing to headaches, fatigue, or general discomfort. That's an important distinction. Supporting the body's normal function isn't the same as promising a cure, and understanding that difference helps us separate evidence from internet myths, which brings us to one of the biggest myths surrounding period cramps today. Biggest myth: if it's natural, it must work. The internet is full of confident promises. Drink this, eat that, try this one secret remedy, guaranteed relief. Some videos make it sound as if decades of medical research can be replaced by a single homemade recipe. But science rarely works that way. Researchers evaluate evidence by asking difficult questions. Has the approach been studied in people? Were the studies well designed? Have the findings been repeated? Do experts agree? Sometimes the answer is yes. Sometimes the answer is, we're still learning. And sometimes the evidence simply isn't strong enough to make confident conclusions. That's why trusted organizations such as the National Institutes of Health and the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists encourage looking at the entire picture of menstrual health, rather than relying on miracle claims. When you hear someone promise an instant cure, it's worth asking, where is the evidence? Current research suggests that a combination of healthy habits, including appropriate heat, gentle movement, stress management, quality sleep, balanced nutrition, and good hydration, may work together to support overall menstrual comfort for many women. Notice the keywords may, support, because every woman's body is different. Listening to your body and knowing when to seek medical evaluation. Here's the final natural approach, and it may be the most important one of all. Learning to listen to your body. For generations, many women were told that painful periods were simply something to tolerate. No questions, no conversations, just keep going. Fortunately, that mindset is changing. Healthcare professionals increasingly encourage women to pay attention to patterns. When does the discomfort begin? Has it changed over time? Does it interfere with work, sleep, or daily activities? Are there new symptoms that weren't there before? Keeping track of these patterns doesn't diagnose anything, but it can help you better understand your own body and have more informed conversations with a qualified healthcare professional if needed. Researchers also remind us that while mild to moderate menstrual cramps are common, severe, worsening, or unusual symptoms deserve medical evaluation rather than self-assessment. For example, if menstrual pain suddenly becomes much more intense than usual, continues to worsen over time, occurs outside your menstrual cycle, or is accompanied by symptoms such as unusually heavy bleeding, fever, fainting, persistent vomiting, or severe pelvic pain, it's important to discuss these changes promptly with a qualified healthcare professional. These symptoms don't automatically mean something serious is happening. Many different conditions can cause them, but they deserve professional evaluation rather than assumptions. One of the most empowering things you can do is become an observer of your own health. Not with fear, with curiosity. Your body communicates constantly. The more you understand those messages, the better prepared you'll be to advocate for yourself. The latest scientific understanding. Perhaps the biggest shift in women's health research over the past 2 decades is this. Researchers no longer view menstrual pain as a single, isolated event. Instead, they recognize that it's influenced by an intricate conversation between hormones, inflammation, muscles, blood flow, the nervous system, sleep, emotional well-being, and overall lifestyle. It's not one switch, it's an entire network. That's why there is rarely one simple answer that works for everyone. Future research continues to explore how genetics, the gut microbiome, chronic stress, physical activity, and other factors may shape menstrual health. While scientists are learning more every year, one message has remained remarkably consistent. Understanding your body is powerful. Because knowledge doesn't eliminate discomfort, but it can replace confusion with confidence. So let's bring everything together. Today, we explored 7 natural ways that current research suggests may help support comfort during menstrual cramps at home. Use heat thoughtfully. Warmth may help relax muscles and influence how pain signals are perceived. Keep your body gently moving. Light activity may support circulation and your body's natural pain-regulating systems. Practice slow breathing and relaxation. Calming the nervous system may help reduce muscle tension and influence pain perception. Prioritize restful sleep. Healthy sleep supports the body's recovery and may affect how pain is processed. Focus on balanced, nourishing meals. Overall dietary patterns matter more than any single miracle food. Stay well hydrated. Supporting your body's normal functions may help improve overall comfort. Pay attention to your body's patterns. Understanding changes over time helps you make informed decisions about your health. Note something important. None of these approaches promise perfection. None claim to eliminate menstrual cramps completely. Instead, they reflect what researchers continue to learn about supporting the body's natural processes. Sometimes, it's not one big change that makes the difference. It's several small, consistent habits working together. If you've ever felt frustrated by period cramps, you're certainly not alone. Millions of women experience them. And while every person's experience is unique, today's research offers something incredibly valuable. Hope grounded in evidence. Not false promises. Not fear. Just a growing understanding of the remarkable ways the body works. The more we learn about women's health, the clearer one message becomes. Your menstrual cycle isn't something to ignore. It's one of the many ways your body communicates with you. And the better you understand that conversation, the more confidently you can care for yourself. Natural call to action. If you found this documentary helpful, consider subscribing for more evidence-based women's health education designed to make complex medical science easier to understand. And if there's a women's health topic you'd like us to explore in a future episode, let us know in the comments below. Your questions often inspire our next documentary. This video is intended for educational purposes only and is not a substitute for personalized medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Every woman and every menstrual cycle is unique. If your symptoms are severe, persist, change significantly, or interfere with your daily life, discuss them with a qualified healthcare professional who can evaluate your individual situation and recommend the most appropriate care. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I'm Kristen, and I believe that understanding your body is one of the most powerful forms of self-care. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and remember, every step you take toward understanding your health is a step toward greater confidence and well-being.